Hey, it's Paul from howtoplaybassdotcom. Got the first in a new mini-series of song tutorials that are really easy, really basic and specifically aimed at beginners. Today's tutorial is Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. It's a great song to start off this mini-series with. There is a link underneath the video here if you want to go and check out. I have a full 30 lesson course for beginners. And the link underneath the video will take you to go and do that if you want to go and check that out. Otherwise, this is a fairly simple tutorial. One thing I highly recommend is you learn the parts slowly, out of time, in isolation. So you learn the main riff, then you learn the two bars, then you learn the variation of the riff, and then you put them together slowly. And only then, when you're comfortable with them, do you then think about getting the original, queuing the original up and playing along with that. But when you've got everything learnt thoroughly, playing along with the original is one of the best ways you can practice this bass line. So we're going to start with the main riff, which is the bass part that's used pretty much through most of the song. Play with the metronome. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the first section to learn. It starts on E, 7th fret of the A string, plays E again, then to G, 10th fret of the A string, back to E, the 7th fret, then down to D at the 5th fret of the A string, then to C, the 3rd fret, and finishes on B, the 2nd fret of the A string. So E, E, G, E, D, C, B. So that's the first section of the song to look at. So learn that, learn it thoroughly. And before we just move on to the next section, you could play and actually fret this a different way. You could fret it like this. I've just taught this song to my 9-year-old son, and this is the way I've taught him, because although I think it sounds better played all on the A string, I wanted to teach him this alternate way because it's actually better fretting technique, fretting hand technique. So you can play it all in one position without moving your hand. So what you're doing is playing E, G, E, as before, all on the A string. Then you're playing D at the 10th fret of the E string, C at the 8th fret of the E string, and B at the 7th fret of the E string. So your hand doesn't have to move, whereas in the other version, your hand does have to shift locations. So it works in either location. From a sound point of view, the first version, all on the A string, I think is better. From a fretting hand correct technique point of view, you're obviously doing much less movement of your hand and your fingers doing it that way. So from that point of view, it's correct. Either way works. My recommendation is you learn both of them, try them out and see which one works for you and which one you prefer the sound of. There's a 2-bar section which is used throughout the tune. If you know the tune, you'll recognise it, where it's just played in straight 8th notes. And then you'd be back into the riff. That's just a bar of G and a bar of A, which are the 3rd and 5th frets of the E string. You play those in 8th notes and then you'd be back to the riff. Depending on whereabouts in the song you are, it might be the chorus, it might be the guitar solo. This section's also used in the kind of the chorus and the guitar solo as well. Again, it's the same 2-bar section, bar of G and a bar of A at the 3rd and the 5th frets of the E string. If you know the song, you'll instantly recognise that section and you'll know where it is. So cross-reference with the original song and you'll find out where to put those bars into the pieces of the puzzle. The only part left for us to do is there's a variation on the riff which is used in the chorus and also in the guitar solo. So we'll go and look at that. Okay, the chorus and the guitar solo has got a variation on the main riff. What you get is something like this. Play with the metronome. 2, 3, 4. And if you're in the chorus, you'd be into the 2-bar section we just looked at, and then be back to the main riff for the verse. Okay, so this section, as I say, it's using the guitar solo as well. It's based on the riff that you've already learned. Plays that pattern exactly the same, and then there's a variation of it. So what you're doing is playing E, E, G, E, D, C, D, C, B. All the note locations are as before. E, 7th fret of the A string, G at the 10th fret, back to E at the 7th fret, D at the 5th fret, C at the 3rd fret, back to D at the 5th fret, back to C, 3rd fret, down to B, 2nd fret. And if you play that along with the record, you'll get that timing of the C to D and back to C. And that's pretty much it. You put those sections together with the original and you'll be able to play through the tune.